Get in line for your next Toyota. Guys, people are waiting weeks, months, potentially even over a year to get the delivery of their new Toyota hybrid. This is outrageous. And today I'm going to, well, check this out. I have a spreadsheet and I am going to tell you which models have the shortest, let's say, waiting times and which competitors you should just be buying right now because there's not going to be a wait. If you're new to the channel, my name's Kirk. I talk about car news every single day. If you like car news, smash the like button. We'll make sure you're subscribed. I will be leaving soon for some additional Honda stuff. I can't say too much right now. Also tomorrow, my Honda Passport driving impressions from Puerto Rico will go up. Also later this spring or early summer, I'm going to have gobs and gobs and gobs of Toyota reveals, news, impressions, hands-on impressions, and you don't want to miss it here on the channel. We need to talk about this story. It's not just happening in North America, these waits for Toyota hybrids. It's happening globally. The demand for Toyotas, especially the hybrids, astronomically high compared to the competition. Toyota's hybrid demand outpaces supply. It has done that, even though the Camry's gone full hybrid, even though the Sienna's gone full hybrid years ago. All right, and more models like the RAV4 will be going full hybrid, which is going to help in theory, but the demand is still going to be very, very high, I think, even when we double the hybrid availability of something like the RAV4. It's not, we're still going to have huge hybrid demands and a lack of supply for the Sienna, the Grand Highlander. Because Toyota's hybrids are in such high demand, their suppliers can't keep up. Hybrid stocks or volumes are low at Toyota dealers across the United States, Japan, even in China, and Europe, of course. I wouldn't be surprised if you guys, a lot of you tune in from Australia, South Africa. Let me know what the hybrid situation there is for Toyota. The surge in demand presents a challenge for Toyota, but also vindicates the Japanese automakers' bet on the technology against predictions by some rivals that BEV or fully battery electric vehicles would wipe out hybrid demand. We haven't seen that, not even close, at least not in the United States, Europe, other parts of the world. China's a little bit different, right? Global sales of hybrids, including PHEVs, have almost tripled to 16 plus million from 5.7 million over the past 5 years. Toyota European customers are waiting on average 60 to 70 days for new hybrids. Guys, if you've been waiting for a Toyota hybrid, let's say you have money down on one, let me know how long have you been waiting, roughly. It looks like European customers are waiting 2 months plus for a new hybrid. Now, that's double the duration people were waiting in 2020 during the pandemic. Vehicles with the heaviest demand and shortest supply in Europe include the Yaris Cross, which I don't have numbers for when we get to the spreadsheet because we don't get that car in the United States. The RAV4 plug-in hybrid, which, guys, it's going to blow your mind on the numbers I have on the RAV4 plug-in hybrid / RAV4 Prime on the United States numbers, okay? Japan, buyers are waiting 2 to 5 months for many models. At one U.S. West Coast dealership, Prius hybrids were sold out mid-February, and just a handful of Camry hybrids were available. Guys, it's really going to depend on your market too when I show you these numbers. Not only, of course, the numbers I have in the United States, but it's going to depend on which area because Priuses or Prius is plural officially for Prius. Anyways, so Prius, they're going to be in higher demand for sure in California compared to other places in the United States theoretically. When we get to the numbers, just keep that in mind that it's going to be higher in some areas and lower in other areas, the demand. India, which is Toyota's new battleground. Toyota has eked its way into the Indian market through Suzuki. Now, Toyota has their own joint venture there with Suzuki as well as another Indian manufacturer. India kind of does joint ventures like China does. If you want to do business there and make cars in India, you have to joint venture. Now, Tesla's looking to get in there without joint venturing. They did that in China and kind of pioneered that sort of new business method. But Toyota said that demand for the hybrids has significantly in the past year has increased, and it is doing its best to boost production and response. And apparently they've improved vehicle lead times over the past year. Well, maybe for certain hybrid models, but I don't believe that because in 2024, you have to keep in mind they actually reduced sales volume compared to 2023. They couldn't keep up. They couldn't keep the machine running that hot. It would lead to failure within the company, and it did lead to failure with emissions cheating, with crash test cheating, with other testings going on that was kind of fraudulent or not up to the standard Toyota nor the governments would like. So Toyota kind of dialed back on volume last year. So I don't believe this, that Toyota has delivery lead times that have improved. I don't believe it, but what do I know? I guess I should take Toyota's word for it. Sagata Dasgupta in New Delhi told Reuters he had the Innova High-Cross SUV put on order in January 2023. Guys, January 2023. But he learned from the dealer in August 2024 that he faced a further wait of 25 to 30 weeks. Guys, that's another half year. Okay, just keep that in mind. Another half year, and he had been waiting a year and a half already. Okay, so that's a 2-year wait. And this month, another email arrived. Okay, so guys, he put it in January 2023. We're now in March of 2025, and they're saying he would still need to wait 15 to 25 weeks. The car doesn't exist. There's too much demand. This guy can't get his car. All right, so what did he do? He went to Mahindra & Mahindra. You got to do what you got to do. Guys, it's not worth it. Life is too short to wait on a Toyota hybrid for more than 6 months, in my opinion. Even that long, it's too short, okay? 3 months, I could live with. Waiting 3 months for a Toyota, 6 months, it is not worth it. And yes, Toyota's adding capacity and whatnot. I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to get into what's going to happen too much. All right. I know a lot of this channel does talk about future product, but what's happening right now, what kind of availability are on Toyota hybrids versus the other hybrids that compete against it? Well, let's start with the RAV4, the best selling Toyota vehicle in the world. Well, at least here in the United States, a Corolla might outsell it in total. But look at this. There's only about 4,400 current in stock. That's up 2% versus last year's sales volume. So what does this mean? Well, they're not sitting on lots. When you're under like 5%, they're not sitting on lots. Okay, they are pre-sold. And so you are waiting months to get delivery of your RAV4 hybrid. More than likely, there are instances that you can sneak in and maybe someone backed out of an order. All right, but for the most part, on average, you're waiting months to get a RAV4 hybrid. This is an insanely low inventory volume compared to their sales volume. All right, they're essentially all pre-sold. All right, Honda. Well, they have 4 times better availability versus last year's volume. All right, so what does this mean? Well, not only can you probably go to your Honda dealership and buy a CR-V hybrid without waiting, you might be able to get a good deal on it. Now, guys, if all you want is Toyota hybrid system, you can get it in the CX-50, which uses the exact same hybrid as a RAV4. All right, and it's a sportier car, and the interior is a little bit nicer. Okay, and the Mazda CX-50. Guys, I have to estimate some of these numbers because these manufacturers do not post sales figures individually for hybrids versus the total volume. But I mean, that's especially true for the Koreans. When we look at Mazda, the CX-50 wasn't on sale the entirety of last year. Okay, so this is me totally estimating where we're going to see the sales volume for the CX-50 hybrid. But there's a ton of volume. There's more CX-50 hybrids available, and they're going to sell, I don't know, 10%. No, a little bit more than that. Let's say 15% of what RAV4s sell. There's 7 times more availability of a CX-50 hybrid than a RAV4 hybrid, and they have the same hybrid system. What are you guys doing? You're just blindly buying and lining up for a RAV4 hybrid right now when the competition, the CR-V, CX-50, and then the Koreans, guys, look at the Korean volume. It's not quite as high in theory. Again, these numbers are a little bit estimated, but it's up there with the CX-50 in terms of hybrid availability for the Tucson hybrid, the Sportage hybrid. Now, the problem with those hybrids, all right, and I would probably lease these guys. I would lease the Koreans and buy the Japanese hybrids. And the reason is that these have a traditional 6-speed automatic. Actually, in some cases, isn't it a dual clutch? I would question the reliability long term. And they're just not quite as efficient. First and foremost, they're not quite as efficient as Honda and Toyota hybrids, especially Toyota hybrids are the most efficient hybrids out there. Hondas come close. Hyundai and Kias, they're probably, let's just say it like this. These are around 35 miles per gallon. This one's upper 30s, Honda's around 40, and Toyota's like 40 to 42. Guys, it's not worth waiting, in my opinion, for a Toyota hybrid when all these are not only available, in many cases, you would be able to deal on them. The chances of you getting a deal under MSRP on a Toyota, especially a hybrid right now, are slim to none. In fact, there could still be markups on them. Going on to the sedans, Camry. Even though the Accord volume it keeps going down, the production volume, guys, you could still probably go up to a Honda dealership, get an Accord hybrid, and it is in some ways better than the Camry hybrid, especially as a luxury car. Now, the problem with the Accord hybrid is that their MSRPs are so much higher on average than the Camry, which is full hybrid now. All right, so the Accord hybrid, you should be able to save $4,000 to $6,000 on a new Acura hybrid off of MSRP. Probably the same thing on a Sonata hybrid. Sonata hybrid's also good. All right. Both of these get to about 46 miles per gallon in my testing, the Accord and the Sonata hybrids. The Camry hybrid, here's the thing. Camry hybrid, look, there's double the availability in theory compared to a RAV4. The Camry gets all-wheel drive as an option if you need it. All right. It also, the Camry hybrid, I was able to get, 62 miles per gallon on the Camry hybrid LE model. Just bonkers now. I think I'm seeing a ton, guys, keep this in mind, I'm seeing a ton of fleet volume for the Camry. All right. So what does that mean? Well, they're not sending as many to dealers as you would think compared to the RAV4. All right. I live in Rental Car Town, USA, where people visit on vacation. I see a ton of new Camrys on the road, and a lot of them have fleet stickers on them on the license plate. Okay, so the Camrys, yeah, you should still be able to get a good deal on them, at least MSRP or around there. Okay, but you could just roll up and get a Accord and get in a Sonata hybrid and get thousands off of MSRP. If you're not getting thousands off of MSRP on a Accord and a Sonata, wait for the Camry. Grand Highlander. Now, the Grand Highlander had a rough year last year. They had to stop production due to a safety recall. Okay, so these numbers are really messed up for that vehicle. There's currently 1,100 Grand Highlanders in stock for the hybrid models, which includes the Hybrid Max, mind you. Last year, they sold 26,000, so there's only 4% availability versus last year's volume. It's not high. In fact, this number could actually be as low as the hybrid RAV4. And the reason is because now production volume is up and running. All right, so this number here is probably closer to 2%, not 4%, now that we have production volume back up and we just don't have hardly any stock on this vehicle. All right, so yes, what are your alternatives to Grand Highlander hybrid? CX-90, guys. I ran the numbers multiple times, and the numbers are still huge for the CX-90 plug-in hybrid. You will be able to get crazy deals on a CX-90 plug-in hybrid compared to a Grand Highlander hybrid. Okay, this is a fantastic car, the CX-90 plug-in hybrid. It handles well. It's not as quite as roomy as a Grand Highlander, but it's sporty. You get 30 miles of electric range. It's still quick. And as long as you're plugging it in every single day, you're hardly going to be using any gas. Someone told me on their channel lately in the comments that they have a CX-90 plug-in hybrid. They're getting over 120 miles per gallon because they're plugging it in and driving it mostly in electric. It is insane. Guys, CX-90 plug-in hybrid is probably going to be the most discounted vehicle on today's list. And I would buy it over a Grand Highlander hybrid. I just like it better. Now, the Grand Highlander hybrid has more seats. It has more space. So that's the big benefit there. Santa Fe, look at the volume here. The Santa Fe is a fantastic hybrid. I love this vehicle. I'd be picking, I mean, it's not, again, not quite as big as a Grand Highlander. And in fact, it lines up more with the traditional Highlander in terms of space. But this thing, I like the styling of it, except for the back. Everywhere else, I like the styling of it. I love the technology in here. The interior is really nice. You should be, guys, with this sort of volume available, you should be able to get a huge discount on a Santa Fe hybrid. In theory, much more than a Grand Highlander. Same thing with the Sorento. All right. Oh, we need to backtrack a little bit. Speaking of Kia, the Sportage is going fully hybrid, the next generation. So that's in 2027. Okay. That's going to change the game for everyone. Yes, Toyota going hybrid, fully hybrid on the RAV4 next year or by the end of this year is a game changer too. Okay. But so is Kia doing the Sportage. I think, do I still have Kia volume? Is this, yeah. So Kia, the Sportage will go to 161,000 hybrids. So if we go back here, they're going to be producing almost as many hybrids as Honda CR-V and RAV4. And this competition is going to be great. This Sportage will have a new generation of hybrid system. So it's going to be catching Toyota and Honda in terms of efficiency. And they will have probably an EREV or extended range electric vehicle plug-in hybrid as well to combat against the RAV4 PHEV. Guys, so right now, it's just like hungry hippos. All these manufacturers are trying their best to get the hybrid buyers in their camp. I mean, Toyota is hogging the most of them. So, guys, these hippos from these other companies are so much hungrier than Toyota, and they're going to be willing to deal and get you guys a better deal than a Toyota. So back to the Sorento, the Santa Fe, and the CX-90. You should be able to wheel and deal on those vehicles. Now we get to the Sienna, the minivans. You guys know I love minivans. There's still only two. Yes, I could put the Pacifica in here, but I don't recommend that vehicle. I do recommend the Carnival hybrid. Okay, the Carnival, is it as good as a Sienna hybrid? In some ways, yes. I don't think its suspension is quite as good, but the space is better. It's roomier. The technology is better. It just doesn't get quite as good a fuel economy. I think I was getting 36 miles per gallon, which is still insane for a minivan. I mean, the Odyssey that I'm driving gets like 19. Okay, Odyssey is more fun to drive than all of them. But the Carnival hybrid is, look at this volume, 14.5% of current stock versus last year's volume. Now, this number I had to extrapolate because the Carnival wasn't on sale the entirety of last year. Should I shrink these columns down so you can see Kia a little bit better? This is what I would do if I were you guys. If you have a deposit on a Sienna, I would also go to your Kia dealer and put a deposit, if it's not available right now, for the Carnival hybrid. It's not worth waiting, guys. Look at this. The volume is just not there. People are waiting months and months and months for a Sienna. They have been for years. Okay, it's not worth waiting. Is a hybrid system better than the Carnivals? Yeah, slightly. And yes, you can get all-wheel drive, but no one really needs all-wheel drive on a minivan. Okay, unless you have an old Delica and you're, overlanding or something. But guys, it's not worth it. Go get a Carnival hybrid and get a deal on one more than likely. And you can say that you can use this as collateral, guys. If you're buying a new car, you have thousands of dollars to spare here. What does that mean? Put $1,000. Well, I don't know. That's what it was for Lexus. So maybe Toyota's is just a $500 deposit. Let's say it's $1,000 though. Put $1,000 deposit on a Toyota if you really want a Toyota. And then cross shop and show, go to the dealers and show, go to Kia if you want a minivan, for example, and say, hey, I have a deposit on a Sienna, but I don't want to wait. What can you do for me? And if they can wheel and deal and get you a better deal on a Carnival hybrid, pull that damn trigger. All right, I'm fired up because people are illogically lining up for Toyota hybrids when there's competition out there. It's not worth the wait for a Toyota. All right, let's get into the Corolla / Prius. I kind of lumped them together because they're in the same segment. Yes, they're different powertrains. I know Yes, I know this. All right, but look at this. This is the highest volume we see for a Corolla and a Prius hybrid. okay, which is kind of surprising. These are the cheapest hybrids we have on the list. The Corolla hybrid is the cheapest hybrid in America. And the Prius hybrid volume is going up. The Prius is a little bit expensive for what it is, but it's more of a sports car nowadays. But here you go. Look at this volume. You should be able to not have to wait very long for a Corolla hybrid or Prius hybrid, and those are great cars. I really like both of them. Civic hybrid, though, the tables have turned. Now, the Civic hybrid, they're not where they need to be. They're only at 33% hybrid penetration. They want to be over 40%. The batteries are also in limited supply. So if Honda is selling more CRV hybrids and they make more profit on CRV hybrids or higher costly or higher ticket item vehicle, they will allocate more hybrids to the CRV. Almost 60% of CRVs are hybrid at this point. Okay. So Civic hybrid here, probably not going to get as good of a deal in theory as a Corolla or a Prius hybrid. But again, that's just in general here. But look at the Elantra hybrid. You should be able to get a good deal here as well. Now, the Elantra hybrid is still the king of miles per gallon. Now, I haven't tested the Prius LE, or I think it's the LE model with the smallest wheels. That could potentially match or beat the Elantra hybrid. The Elantra hybrid, when I drove it, I think I got 65 miles per gallon. Something absurd like that. Guys, I'm not joking. I filled it up. I got like 65 miles per gallon. The Camry comes close, and the Camry is a bigger car, which is crazy. The Camry LE also has more horsepower, a lot faster than the Elantra hybrid. That's the thing. The Elantra hybrid is slower than the Civic hybrid, a lot slower than the Civic hybrid, slower than the Prius, and it's about as fast as the Corolla hybrid. All right. So the Elantra hybrid, also a really good car here. And it seems like, guys, there's not as much demand for these smaller hybrids compared to the big hybrid vehicles. And why is that? Well, small cars are inherently cheaper and also inherently more fuel efficient due to their smaller weights. You can get like 35 miles per gallon on a cheap Sentra or something that doesn't have a hybrid. You're not gaining that much compared to a minivan. Let's say you're looking at a $45,000 minivan. One has 18 miles per gallon, one has 36. You literally double your fuel economy. So there's much more to be gained by going hybrid on larger vehicles. All right. And that's why the demand here for hybrids on these bigger vehicles, the percentages are in general higher. Okay. Which means more availability, more stock. Compared to last year's sales volume means better availability and better chance of you getting a deal. All right. Meanwhile, many competitors, Ford, yes, there are some Ford hybrids out there. I didn't include them in this, but you guys, most of you aren't interested in a Ford hybrid if you're looking at a Toyota hybrid. Here's the bonus. Here's the cherry on the cake, the cherry on the cupcake, the cherry on whatever, cherry on top. Guys, Crowns. There's a decent volume for Crowns. You should be able to get one without waiting too much. Highlander, forget about it. The volume here is laughable. People look at this, 754 Highlanders. Forget about it. You know what? The Santa Fe is a competitor to it. So is the Sorento, and so is the CX-90. Go get one of them. Don't wait for a Highlander hybrid. Prius, plug-in hybrid specifically. I was just talking about the normal hybrid Prius earlier. Not good. Not good volume here. But there's what's the competition? Like a Nero plug-in hybrid. I didn't even put the Nero in here. Should I put the Nero in here? Do you guys want to see this? Yeah, the Nero has good availability compared to the Civic. All right. So a Nero is going to have a good discount more than likely as well. Or, you get it at MSRP. Do not pay more than MSRP for a Nero. All right. It's very, very slow, but they are efficient and practical. So Nero's a fine vehicle. Guys, all these hybrids are good cars. Every single one of them. I would own any single one of these hybrids without hesitation. I would not wait for months and months and months for a Toyota. All right. So back to RAV4 PHEV. Guys, the RAV4 PHEV and the Corolla Cross have dismal levels of availability. You are going to be waiting and waiting and waiting. More than likely, there are exceptions. Guys, there are exceptions. More than likely, though, guys, This is what to do. If you really want a RAV4 PHEV, put a deposit down on it and then go shopping. Use it as leverage. Same thing with the Corolla Cross. The problem with the Corolla Cross, why is availability so low, is because there's zero competitors to this vehicle. No HRV hybrid, no Seltos hybrid, no Kona hybrid, etc. No CX-30 hybrid. The Corolla Cross has the entire subcompact market or subcompact crossover hybrid market to itself. That's why, like, and same thing the RAV4. Okay, the Korean plug-in hybrids, I think they still make them. They're a joke compared to the RAV4 plug-in hybrid. They just don't compete, and they're very expensive, guys. That's why these vehicles have such low volume. And all, like the RAV4 though, guys, this has insanely low volume. Go get a competitor. It's not worth it. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully this helped you out. If you enjoyed this content, made it this far, I really appreciate you. And if you haven't hit that like button, I appreciate that even more. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay tuned for more car news. Have a great day and peace.